Well, I was born here in Prescott, Arizona, and grew up within the shadows of the Prescott Frontier Days rodeo grounds. And the Prescott Frontier Days has always been part of my life, even as a youngster. We lived right here close to the rodeo grounds, and my brother and I were always the first ones to be able to sneak into any event they had here at the Prescott Rodeo. I started my rodeo career right here in Prescott. My first junior rodeo, when at the age of 6, I rode in this exact arena in the calf riding. I won $10.80, won second place, and by golly, then I thought I'd never see another poor day, you know. But growing up through the Prescott Frontier Days, my dad was a rodeo cowboy, and he rodeoed here back in like 1934, 1936. He was a competitor here in the bareback riding here at the Prescott Frontier Days. I rode in my first professional rodeo right here in Prescott. I was 15 years old, and then you could enter as a local, and I entered the Prescott Frontier Days then. I competed here quite a few different years, and through the history of the Prescott Frontier Days, I won the most bareback riding titles here at the Prescott Frontier Days than anybody ever has. I won the bareback riding here 5 times. And that was always a giant thrill for me to be able to win my hometown rodeo. I've been fortunate enough in my rodeo career that I've won about every major rodeo in the country, but to win Prescott and to win it 5 times was, by golly, that was like the icing on the cake. Oh yeah.
Wow, tell her she's quite the ham. Yeah, look at her hair.
Back in 2004, I got a call from my sister-in-law, who lives here in Prescott. I was living in Colorado at the time, and had told me that they had hired a general manager for the Prescott Rodeo, and he had only been here for 1 year, and they were looking for another general manager. And I had never thought about doing that or coming. I'd love the idea of coming back to Prescott. My mom and dad were still here then, and I sent them an application, and by golly, they hired me. And it's been a great ride ever since. I'm starting my 16th year here as the general manager. We have been able to help this rodeo grow in leaps and bounds, quality-wise, cowboy-wise, and of course, prize money-wise. And our rodeo has, every year for the last 10 years, have broken records as far as our record ticket sales. We have over 600 professional contestants every year, and last year we paid over $260,000 in prize money. Over the 4th of July weekend, most all the rodeos, the major rodeos, are in the northwest or the northern part of the country. You know, Wyoming, Colorado, Washington, a lot of the major rodeos. And for a rodeo cowboy to come all the way south during that run, when they're up in the Northwest rodeo, and it's quite a challenge, and you have to have enough money for these cowboys to come make it worthwhile. And we've established that, and we've ended up with as Prescott always has had, every top competitor in the rodeo business. And we feel real fortunate to have that quality of cowboys. Every year we get every top current world's champion, and past world's champions. It's, you might say it's a who's who in the rodeo business when you look at the entry list here at Prescott. And that's a great shot in the arm for the Prescott Rodeo. Well, rodeo is a very unique sport in that way right there. Every other it's the only professional sport that the cowboy, the competitor, has to pay an entry fee, has to pay his own traveling expenses, airplane tickets, fuel, motels, going to 100 rodeos a year, you know. And I know cowboys like our current world's champion, Trevor Brazil, and Tough Cooper, and a lot of the top cowboys, Tim O'Connell, Casey Fields, those guys will go to 10 or 12 rodeos over that 4th of July week. The 4th of July week over in professional rodeo that week and the week after are the busiest times, what they call Cowboy Christmas. It's the busiest times of rodeo cowboy. And there's no really professional trainers or, you know, that go along with the rodeo. And the professional rodeo cowboy is a very unique and independent competitor. And it's a great way of life. And you know, I wouldn't trade any of it.
Welcome to the Prescott Frontier Day.
Prescott is known to be a traditional rodeo. Wasn't maybe not the first rodeo that happened, but it was the first rodeo that charged an admission, creating a fan base. They sat down and wrote a set of rules, which is used now. The basic rules that was written up here at Prescott is used in the professional rodeo now. And then they charged an entry fee, which created that contest. So Prescott was probably not the first rodeo in the world, but it was the rodeo that established it as a contest and a spectator sport. So you might even say that Prescott might have planted the seed for what professional rodeo has grown to be now. You can look at a lot of different things, the value of the Prescott Frontier Days Rodeo here in Prescott. Tradition, of course, Prescott is a historical, traditional Western town. And if you tell somebody you're from Prescott, Arizona, oh, that's where the rodeo's at. So not only the great reputation of having a top quality rodeo here in Prescott with top contestants and top stock and top dollars, the financial impact of the Prescott Frontier Days to this town with the parade, the dance, the rodeo, everything that's under our umbrella is a giant, giant impact. One of the great stories, I guess, is going to be the first time I rode here. I was, of course, that was my first professional rodeo. I had studied and read about every world's champion cowboy and bareback rider, and that was something I lived and ate and dreamed about. The first rodeo I rode here, I made a decent ride. I ended up getting a 0 because I'd slapped the horse with my free arm. But I got off, and my buddies from high school, all my local buddies, were patting me on the back, you know, because I was the first one of our group to have what it took to enter the rodeo, you know. And we were all sitting there behind the chutes after I had gotten, of course, I'd got a goose egg, but I had made a mighty good ride, and we were all sitting there, and I was putting my stuff up. And Eddie Acreage was a world's champion bareback rider that I had looked up to for years and years, and he happened to be riding there at Prescott. And he come over and kind of got through my buddies standing there and stuck his hand out and shook hands with me. And to this day, I'll always remember, he told me, he says, son, he says, if you keep riding like that, you'll be a world's champion someday. Hi, this is J.C. Trujillo, General Manager of the Prescott Frontier Days, and I'd like to invite all of you, rodeo fans and non-rodeo fans, to come and witness one of the greatest outdoor sports in the country, in the world, professional rodeo. And we'd love to see you at the Prescott Frontier Days, the world's oldest rodeo.